Alina, for joining me. I guess maybe because this is my first podcast live, I would like maybe kind of just introduce, just kind of go introduce myself first. My name is Edwin Mbeche. I'm the founder and CEO of Helen Technologies, like a super app we're developing. And I have my guest Alina, and we're just gonna be having a conversation, kind of talk just different experience. With Alina, we're from working from ADP, Toys R Us, to real estate investing, and so yeah, we're gonna have fun. Yes, welcome.
Sounds good, Edward. And thank you so much for inviting me to this live event. Appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. And maybe we can jump in. Just kind of introduce yourself, your background a little bit, and you can go anywhere really. Like you can just be like maybe where you're from or where you live, or to like uh, what you have done in the past and what you do now.
Sounds great, and thank you for that, Edward. So I came to United States from what used to be at that time Soviet Union. It's been almost 30 years ago, a long time. And at that point, I was deciding what to do next. I came to the country with my mom. We were poor immigrants, and I needed to um, find a job to support us, and second of all, I needed to get an education. So someone told me that, hey, you're good with numbers, you'd be good in accounting, and I basically went along with that. Got my degree in accounting from Baruch College, which is part of City University of New York. Worked as a tax accountant, tried it in private and public world, didn't really like that, and decided to try myself in a completely different industry. And I went into the world of information technology, where I had a successful 20 plus career, with job that ranged from different things, from doing business analysis to project and product management and so forth. But the main objective of all of these jobs in information technology has always been to kind of connect the two worlds, the world of business and the world of technology, and help them to communicate with each other. And that turned out to be a valuable skill because while I was working, I was also noticing that the tax brackets were growing for myself and my husband. And as a former tax accountant, I kept thinking to myself that I should find a way to minimize our tax implications. And so real estate kept coming up. And when I finally decided to take action and do my research and find out what kind of real estate investing we can do, I came across this passive way to invest in real estate through the so-called syndications. And I took a leap of faith, invested in one, and then the snowball effect happened, where I invested in the second, third, and so forth, and invested in bunch. And after doing that for a while and sharing those details with my surrounding, my coworkers, friends, family, I realized that almost no one had ever heard about this passive way to invest in directly in real estate, save on taxes, build wealth passively, and essentially do it without no interruption to your day-to-day life. And
Yeah.
out of it, the idea of my own company, Sama Financial, was born with the whole purpose of helping other people to essentially follow my footsteps and do what I've done and created for my family. Invest in real estate, do it passively, save on taxes, and make an impact on the communities. And so through SAMA, I've been educating and helping a lot of people to to become sophisticated real estate investors and start investing. And then when pandemic happened, I lost my W-2 job. I decided that I'll stay in real estate full time. I no longer need another job at that point, and that's what I did. And in that journey, a friend of mine introduced me to Mike Zlatnik, who is a fund manager for TF Management Group, and he manages real estate funds. And Mike invited me to join his group and help them to spearhead investor relations, which I also do in addition to spearheading SEMO. And I still continue investing. I still continue helping people in various ways to passively invest, build their wealth, and make an impact on other communities. And through the journey and by being active on LinkedIn, I met you, Edward, which was a blessing. It's been my pleasure to get to know you better and your surrounding, and to hear about your journey and how you bring in Helen to life. It's really amazing. I'm really impressed with what you've done so far.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure meeting. So let's see, like, hopefully maybe kind of trying to bring kind of little like value to people, maybe kind of maybe either there are people who are founders or we can, let's talk about like product management and kind of marrying this product and kind of business side, and then we're going to jump into real estate. So maybe can you go deeper into product management? What exactly is product management, uh, in your way of explaining it?
Sure. So product management is all about understanding the business users' pain points and needs. It's knowing what questions to ask and knowing how to create a product that serves those pain points and accommodates the needs of the business users. The product managers work very closely with marketing folks and with IT folks, and marketing folks help them to see what's going on in the market, what's currently popular, what the competitors are doing, while the IT folks are helping product managers to bring their idea to life. And the way they do it is through constant iterations and a number of working sessions by working together and understanding how do we solve this problem. So because here's this user A that has problem B and he needs solution C, how do we marry all of this together and create that product, which essentially is nothing more than SaaS, software as a service, that services the clients and gives them the solution that helps them, number one, solve their problem, number two, save their time so that they can spend that valuable time on creating and designing more products and working on improving the products or the functionality that's already there, and continue on adding more and more, bringing more and more value to their clients.
Okay, so like a bridge between like the tech and the marketing, but in terms of just kind of, I guess like what I'm trying to understand more with this. So you translate what the customer want, and then you translate to the IT people like, hey, this is a feature you should be doing. This is what's needed, and then so is it like more not necessarily just the marketing people? Is it like market research type? Are you talking about kind of?
Marketing people do more of the market research and look up at the competition. Product managers do more or of the business cases. For example, let's say LinkedIn existed, but LinkedIn didn't have the live stream. So how do we bring the live stream, make it live, allow users to share it with their network, and make sure that the software is available later? So product managers create business use cases based on these requirements. They say, make it live, make sure it's shareable, make sure that it can be saved in a XYZ storage for the later. And these requirements then go into the IT team, and the IT team needs to translate this into the software itself. Now, mind you, when we say IT team, it comprises of the architect, developers, UX designers, sometimes business analysts too, and then QA folks, quality assurance people that can test, make sure that the software works. So there are multiple components, if you will, of this journey that the ideal client goes through before the product for this ideal client is created. But product managers are essentially the ones that connecting what marketing people are finding out from the outside world to the end result, to what the IT folks will be delivering as the end result of this life cycle journey.
Okay, okay. Do you end up as a product management person? Do you end up also touching base, not just the marketing department? Do you end up touching base with like maybe branding department, also kind of overlay that information, kind of like how is in
Uh,
turn?
Branding is more of an aspect of the UX designers and social media managers. Product managers, for the most part, concentrate strictly on the use cases. What are the issues of the end users, of our own end users, and how do we solve these issues? What do the users need? And how we give them that need and some more to make sure that this solution that we're giving them is user friendly, easily accessible, and cost effective. Because as you know, Edward, everyone's looking at the cost right now. Like,
Yes.
what are the costs associated with the solution, and will these costs justify us investing in this solution? Does it make sense for us? And so that's where the product managers come in. They make sure that their solution is matching with the requirements of the clients. And mind you, clients typically don't define requirements. Nobody is going to come in and tell you, I want this live stream, I want this. They just say, oh, I have this problem. I wish I could go live through social media platform, but I can't. I wish I could save this recording. But all they say is, I wish this existed. Think of product managers sort of like the people that have this magic wand, that
Mhm.
take the magic wand and translate it into the points that need to be magically created by the development team.
Okay, okay. And in this also, like let's say, take example, what we're developing. Is this so with the product management? Is this like a one time, like okay, you translate that between the marketing and the IT department. They design what you're looking for. It is like okay, that's it. It's good now. Is it like ongoing thing? Is always kind of thing, or is this a one kind of?
It's ongoing. Let's take an example. Let's say you're going to a wedding, and you start thinking, okay, do I wear a white shirt or a blue shirt? Do I put a tie or no tie? Maybe I should put a bow tie. And you're constantly going through that. Okay, now what shoes are matching? What pants are matching? Do I wear a suit or no suit? So you try different things and you try to match to see until the point where you find that perfect outfit. Okay, this is what I love. This looks great on me, and that's what I'm gonna wear. Why? Because of the you also considering conditions outside. Is it raining? Is it snowing? Is it sunny? Is the temperature 40 degrees
Oh
or
yeah,
89 degrees? Is
yeah.
it humid or non-humid? So all of that you take into consideration. Is the wedding outside or inside? Same happens here. When the product is delivered first, it's still more or less raw product that always can use enhancements. So by shipping it back to the end users, you continue obtaining feedback from them and hear from them. Okay, it's okay, but the bandwidth it's made on it, the live aspect is not streaming well enough. Make it more enhanced, or I need the buttons to save it, to share it, or maybe bring more invitees immediately, so add those buttons. Or I don't like the background, I want to be able to do like facial features, to add the facial recognition as well. So you are constantly iterating. That's why the process is called iterative, because you're constantly going through a number of iterations to continuously improve this product. And guess what, once this one is improved,
Mhm.
then you move on to the next use case. What else clients need? How do you solve that other problem that they have, and help them to improve this other area of their business need through the software?
So
Does this help?
yes, his ongoing thing is like as long technology is changing and people's needs kind of thing. So he's always kind of just keep going with it.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's always ongoing.
But for startup, when should they get a product manager, or hire a product manager? It should be in the beginning. It should be once they launch the company, and uh, how that works.
Edward, great question. I think the earlier the better, because product manager essentially is the one who is helping you to identify what are the end user requirements are. It's not in marketing or technology people expertise to understand that. Technologists are just that their mind works based on the requirements that are given, but someone needs to give
Coding.
them these requirements. And in some companies, what I've seen, the role of product manager has been more or less overlapped with the role of business analyst. You can overlap, you can merge them together and have them do the same thing, but you do need that one person or maybe a team of people, depending on how much requirements you need to solve for your end users. But you need essentially that expertise that will help you to connect the end user requirements with what the development team is creating on the end, because someone has to put that connecting link for them together to understand, because they're not speaking the same language. There's this human language and then there's this IT language, and
Yeah.
someone needs to create that bridge between the two.
And so with this, by bringing that person like in the early stage, uh, so they still need the marketing department, right? Do they still need the marketing person so they can kind of bounce ideas, still kind of be,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Marketing role does not have overlap. They do work together jointly, because marketing people typically do the research on a competition. They do the research of what the end users are looking for. They also do the research of, to see how we can go beyond the competition and what else can be done. But I would say they work closely together with product management, not an overlap. So both roles are needed, and both roles are serving completely different purposes.
okay, okay. All right. So let's switch a gear. Let's go into real estate. That's the good thing. So um in the real estate, when you say it took you a while to kind of just kind of going back and forth and you end up kind of start doing it. When did you end up starting like emerge more deeper into real estate? With this after the pandemic, or did you start slowly
Great question, Edward. So I have a family, and with the kids, I wasn't willing to just give up my W two. It was cushy, comfortable, and I didn't think I was at the point where I can just do that. So I started investing first. Then I started my company a few years later, and then after the pandemic hit, which was also about 3 or so years later, when I decided that, okay, now I have this pink slip, do I really need to find that other W two job? And both my husband and I agreed that I did not need that. I could just concentrate on real estate in hand. Um, for me, that pink slip was a blessing in the sky. I only wish it happened sooner rather than later. Uh, but I am definitely enjoying this entrepreneurial lifestyle now for the last 2 years, and I'm very, very blessed and grateful for what I have and for what I created for my family, and helping other people to create for their families. Because real estate has a ton of opportunities, and even though it's cyclical, just like the stock market, real estate cycles are easier to predict, and real estate is a lot more based on a fact. It's a factual field, and that's one of the reasons why I like it. Being a numbers person and being able to see the numbers for the financial statements for the properties that we're buying helps me understand each investment much better, much easier than just looking at the stock market, where I look at the stock and I'm like, I don't know which way it's gonna go. And the example that I always like to use when I talk about stock market, Edward, is you and I enjoy Starbucks coffee, for instance.
Yep.
And if instead of drinking a cup a day, we'll start drinking 3 or 4 cups a day, will that impact Starbucks stock? Not at all. So that's the answer. Like, where is that correlation? How do you understand where the stocks are moving? There's no clear path for that understanding, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's what makes real estate different, because it's a lot more predictable, if you will, and it's a lot more based on the facts, on the financials, the specific area you're looking at, and then the comps for that particular area and how the market in that particular area is performing. And that's why it's one of real estate is one of my favorite investments.
Okay, perfect, perfect. With the, I know, like I know, real estate. The only scary thing happened. It was like after like the 2008 when I remember like I had some friends who like had houses where they bought a house for like it's worth 6,000 hundred, like that's the value what the loan they got for 600,000, and but the house after the market crashed, the house is like value was 300,000. It's like it was just chopped half like the prices. It was horrible. But probably again with a lot of the loan that they were being given at that time, I guess was part of the problem. So with syndication real estate, right? What is that? What exactly is? Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Syndication essentially is a partnership where a group of people pull their funds together to buy large commercial real estate. So, what happens is within that partnership, there are two subgroups. There is one subgroup of people that are passive investors. They're called limited partners. These are the people that take their money and invest in this partnership. They're not liable for anything. They don't do any work. All they do is they review the investment and then decide to invest in it. And then there's another subgroup of people, which is general partners. These are the people that do all the work. They find the property, negotiate it, then buy it, then reposition it, make it look better, and pay distributions to investors. And so essentially, syndication is when there are those two subgroups where some people are completely passive and some people are active and do all the work on behalf of those passive investors.
Yeah. So it's like it's almost like so like you're saying it's kind of like flipping, right? So or is it a little bit different? Like so they buy it, fix it, sell it, kind of.
Yeah, flipping happens a lot faster typically. Syndications are usually done for longer term projects that happen to last at least a year or more. Majority that I know of have been around for roughly anywhere between 3 to 7 years, but like I said, they could run less or more.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So talk to me like maybe give me some advice in terms of I want to buy real estate, right? So the idea is, do I buy? I want to buy them not for just rental, but more like I want to buy them and then do uh like what is it, Airbnb rental, right? So like short terms instead of me putting like a rent. So is it better for me because as a beginner, do I buy one family house, or do I buy like maybe 3 units, 6 unit kind of thing, and to kind of stuff? Yeah.
Sure, and Edward, the answer will be it depends. I know it's not probably the answer that you're looking for, but
Yeah.
it depends on a number of things. It depends on your level of expertise, and you mentioned that you're a beginner. It depends on how much money you're willing to spend and how much money you have for this type of investment. I always tell my investors that the rule number one: only invest the money that you are specifically allocated for the investing. Do not touch your rainy day funds. Do not touch the money that you have allocated maybe for student loans or other things. Only whatever sum you allocated for the investment, and because everything is risky, including real estate, you're willing to lose it. So if you're not willing to lose it, then don't spend it and don't invest it, because everything is risky and there are no guarantees. And then if you're looking to do an Airbnb, I would say it also depends where you want to do Airbnb. If you're doing it somewhere down the shore, let's say in Florida, where let's say it's Miami. Miami has a lot of condos. It's a lot harder to find single family house or a duplex in a area close to the beach, but it's a lot easier to find condos. So if you're doing it in that area, definitely look for a condo. But if you're doing it somewhere, let's say in the mountains, let's say it's Yellowstone, Smoky Mountains, that area has a ton of houses. So I would say look for a house to buy, and make sure that the house that you buy is reflective of the particular area and can give your potential tenants the experience they're looking for. For instance, if it's in the Smoky, another area that I was considering looking at, make sure that it has that wooden look inside, because that's what people are looking for. They want to have the experience while
Yeah.
they living in the area, and as well as when they're going outside and going to explore the area as well. So always do your research as to what the Airbnb users are looking for in a particular area, and concentrate on buying the type of real estate property that's more common, and the end buyers are interested in buying,
So,
essentially.
so in a way, like you don't want them to just say, "Hey, we enjoyed the city or whatever city they traveled," but also you want them to be like, "Yeah, we enjoyed the place where we stayed. That place was real nice," kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So Edward, in this case, you would wear your marketing hat, and you would start doing the research not only on Airbnb, Booking, and other travel sites have a ton of reviews. TripAdvisor. So read what people are saying, where they staying, and what they enjoying the most. And if the area happens to have a number of different type of properties, whether it's multifamilies or condos or co-ops and so forth, then you have a much greater options in terms of what kind of property to buy. But if the area is very focused on, let's say, condos only, then your focus should be buying a condo. And then also, if it's a condo, are you getting a condo with a view, or you're just getting a condo that's conveniently located within a very close proximity to the place that your buyers your tenants will want to go. So all of those factors needs to be taken into consideration when you're creating these requirements, and you're putting your product manager hat on, because you're trying to create requirements
Yeah.
that are satisfying your end user demands. What do the end user want? They want this X, Y, and Z, and you're trying to satisfy it. Close to the beach, in a shady side, clean and convenient, let's say. And you're looking for a property that satisfies these requirements. Can this be on the fifth floor or the second floor? Sure. Will they get a better view from the fifth floor versus second floor? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so you're looking as to how much are you willing to pay. Obviously, the higher the apartment, the better the view, the more expensive it's going to be. Are you willing to pay that extra X many thousand to get that view? Or is the second floor will the second floor suffice enough to satisfy all your clients? So you're essentially playing that matching game, creating the requirements and matching it against what the end users want. So that's how you wear that product manager hat on.
Perfect. Last question before we go. So
Sure.
let's say someone is lucky and before they buy their property, their first property, like normally is always suggested, like for I guess for residential you can do like 3% or whatever, and then for if it's for rental you do like up to what 20%, I think.
You
If
mean down payment
for yeah for rental 20%, right?
would
Um,
be higher? Sure.
yes. So let's say you you have more, you have 50% for the rental. Do you put the whole 50%, or can you just be like, you know what, because they want 20%, here's 20%, I save this money, and then in 6 months I would use the other 20% again to buy the second place.
So the answer is also it depends. If you're just a casual buyer who has a couple of properties, then you'll probably put more and will have to pay less in your mortgage payments. If you're a real estate investor, you'll try to put as little as possible down, or maybe put down and then reposition the property quickly and do a cash out refi so you can pull some equity out of the property. Why?
Yeah.
Because you want to reuse it and put it into other investments. So real estate investors, bottom line, the real estate investors try to take out as much as possible or put as little as possible into the property so they can leverage the money that they have at hand to buy more properties, because that's what they do day in day out. They buy in real estate. And as the real estate investors saying goes, the money you make, the money not when you sell, you make the money when you buy, because at that point you require equity.
Oh, perfect. Quick. Oh, I said okay. One more last question.
Sure.
So,
As many as you'd like. Edward.
so is it better than? Because I'm thinking if you're buying this real estate, then you gotta go through all this. But is it better maybe to just be like, you know what? I have $100,000. I don't want to just put this as a deposit for a house. Why don't I just get into syndication then? Is
Sure.
it better that way, or do you like? Let's say if you have 100,000, I don't know how much is the minimum for to get into the deal of syndication. Do you divide that maybe to a couple different property, or how does that work?
Yeah, if you only have $100,000 to invest, then you would want to divide it by at least two properties or maybe more. Syndications are different. Some requires little as 25,000. Some may require more money to put in. But I would say if it's the only money you have for investments, then definitely split it between a couple of
Yeah.
properties or more.
So it's better to start with syndication then. Yeah.
Syndication allows you to be completely passive if you don't want to get involved, because even if it's a single family house and you think that the money will just start coming in, there will always be something that your tenants will call you, and that phone call may come in during your vacation in the middle of a night or at some other times. So if you don't mind that, if you don't mind looking for maintenance workers and or taking care of the improvements, do it. But if your time is more valuable to you, then syndications are completely passive. There are no headaches. You put the money in and that's it. Your work is done.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alina, again for taking the time to chat with me. And
My pleasure.
we'll be talking later. Okay. Thank you.
Sounds great.
All
Sounds
right.
great.
All right.
Thank you,
Talk to you
Edward.
soon.
Thanks
All
for
right.
inviting me. Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.
Take care.